my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody just calm down!
This is the Big Nasty. Yeah, Big Nasty, Hall of Fame Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, baby.
This is Mike Allstott, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you're listening to the Cannon Fire Podcast.
Cannon Fire Podcast, brother. You ain't listening, and you're missing out. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. Tom Brady, the 6-time Super Bowl champion, one of the biggest pieces in the Patriots dynasty that has tormented the NFL for close to 20 years, and arguably the greatest quarterback of all time is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. 20 minutes before we were supposed to sit down and record this podcast, trying our best to wrap up the first 2 days of free agency, my co-host Evan calls me on the phone and he says, "Rhett, they did it." It's something that we monitored closely all day long. I have been glued to my phone. I have been glued to Twitter for the past 3 days, hoping to get an answer about what the Bucs are going to do at the quarterback position. We saw guys get fleeced out to different parts of the NFL. Teddy Bridgewater looked like he was going to the Bears, ended up with the Panthers on a 3-year deal. Phillip Rivers right now looking like he's headed to the Colts. Options were dwindling down for the Bucs as they waited for Brady's response. And here we are, March 17th, 2020, and a new era has begun in Tampa Bay football. TB to TB. In 2020, it really doesn't feel real. We're going to try and break it all down for you here today. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Cannon Fire Podcast. I can hardly contain myself because I just simply cannot wrap my head around what has transpired today. We talked about the possibility of Tom Brady to Tampa over the past few months, and it just felt like something that would totally shock me. It felt like something the Bucs would not do. We've seen them fumble in quarterback sweepstakes before. It happened with Brett Favre. They were the runners-up when he went to the Jets. They fumbled it. They could not make it happen. Today, they made it happen. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Back at you today for episode 104. I am your host, Rhett Matthew. Joined alongside me, as always, my good buddy and co-host, the Philly Bucs fan himself, Mr. Evan Wanish. Evan, how are you?
What's going on, man?
What is going on,
What's
brother?
going on?
Is
you
this,
know what is going on?
Real?
I'll tell you what's going on. The greatest quarterback ever is going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. That's what's going on.
It's hard not to get emotional. I had a good conversation with a former Bucs podcaster today about getting emotional. People buy into the emotional side of things. You know, getting excited because a big-name player is coming to Tampa Bay before you break down what he's capable of in-game. And this is things that I said before leading up to it. You know, are we going to get the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, or are we going to get 43-year-old Thomas Brady? We don't know yet, but not knowing, I won't lie, not knowing makes it a little bit more exciting. Because you know what? If we fall flat on our face, then we kind of deserve it. But the Buccaneers actually went all in and did something they said they were going to do, and they got Tom Brady. So I don't want to get emotional, but guys, this is a huge deal. This is a franchise-altering move. This is something that will be remembered for the rest of the Buccaneers' existence, whether it ends up good or bad. This is just huge. This is the biggest thing we've ever covered on the podcast.
Easily.
We got some voicemails from you guys. We opened up our phone lines, 813-433-0323. How'd you guys leave us some great
a disclaimer. A lot of these voicemails were done before this news, so.
Yes, they were recorded earlier today before the news became official. Like I said, 20 minutes before we were going to record this podcast, We got the news from Adam Schefter basically confirming what a lot of sources have been saying throughout the day, that Tom Brady is a Buc. Oh, man.
Yep, expected to agree to the deal, make it official tomorrow. Ian Rappaport was reporting it's around $30 million a year. Don't know how many years. I would expect probably 2, maybe 3. If it is 3, I would expect probably like 2 with an option for a third. Yeah, but Tom Brady is going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. This is real, and yeah, TB12 is going to be in Tampa Bay. That's the bottom line.
I just, again, it's so crazy, dude. It's something that is going to mean a lot for Tampa Bay, more than just a change up at the quarterback position. You bring in Tom Brady, that means the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be getting more national attention than they have gotten since they won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
There are going to be packed, sold-out crowds at Raymond James every single week. The Bucs season tickets already have a waiting list. Who was it that you said tweeted out he's on a waiting list for season tickets?
It was Anthony Beck. He tweeted it out, and he was like, there was like 900 people in front of him.
It's going to fill up Tampa. And by God, we're going to be the closest thing we've been to a football city in a very, very long time. Now, let me not forget about our former quarterback, Jameis Winston. I said before this all happened that I really wanted Jameis back in Tampa. I would be disappointed if he left. And I am disappointed that he's leaving. I believe Jameis has enough in the tank to go somewhere else and excel. I really do. I'm ashamed to see him go. He was a Tampa guy from day one, and he's a guy that you want on your team. But me and Evan talked about it. We went back and forth, back and forth. I mean, even in our personal time, we were texting each other back and forth about everything that we talk about on the show. A lot over the past few days.
Yeah. A lot over the past
We've been in touch a lot. And one of the things that we brought up was, do you feel like Jameis Winston can win you games in the playoffs? If the Bucs make it to the promised land, which looks like they have a much better chance of doing so because of the new collective bargaining agreement that was just agreed upon, it looks like the Buccaneers will be in playoff position. Even if they finish...
I'll tell you what, if they don't make the playoffs this year, like, based on how, like, everything's turned out, like, there's 7 teams now, they got Tom Brady. Like, if you don't make the playoffs, I'm convinced they're never going to make the playoffs again, no matter who's on the team. So
it's almost the expectation. When you bring in someone like Brady...
It has to be. Right now, the expectation is playoffs.
There was another tweet that I saw. You bring in someone like Brady, whose track record alone, 6 Super Bowls, countless playoff appearances. He has more playoff appearances than every single Buccaneers quarterback combined in franchise history. Just say that out loud 3 times, and if you are a Bucs fan, think about what's best for the team. At the end of the day, I want to win. And I've said it before. I wanted Jameis back, but we can win with Brady. We can. We can win. When we get to the playoffs, and I say win because, as I said earlier, that's almost the expectation now. Yep. But when we get to the playoffs, I feel like Tom Brady can win us games in the playoffs. Jameis Winston, as much as I like the guy, as much as he does possess next-level talent, it was so unknown with him. With Tom Brady, it feels like a sure thing. Jameis Winston in overtime of a wild card game, I don't know what you're going to get. Tom Brady in overtime of a wild card game with 2 minutes left on the clock, unless you're in Foxborough facing the Titans, I have a pretty good feeling.
Game's done.
I just have a good feeling the Bucs are going to stay in that game. And we've talked about over the years, it's not about throwing as many touchdowns and racking up stats as Jameis did during his time as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. The guy owns every single offensive record in Buccaneers history. He's going to be in the record books for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But that
I just went on the Bucs Wave Instagram page and followed Tom Brady. So didn't think that would ever happen.
I need to do that as well. I need to go
like,
on
I follow Tom Brady on my personal account, but I don't follow him on, now I do, obviously, but wow.
And if you guys are watching...
sorry to interrupt, but just wow.
No, it really is something that has my mind going at 1,000,000 miles per hour. It's ridiculous, man. Like, ridiculous in a good way. And if you guys are watching the video, I have donned my Jameis Winston Color Rush jersey for this episode. I like Jameis Winston. I'm a fan of the guy. And folks, I wanted you to witness it. This is the last time I will wear this Jameis Winston Color Rush jersey. I'm going to hang it up in my closet. I'll display it front and center in my closet, but I do not plan on wearing this again because my next jersey purchase...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So is your next jersey a Tom Brady jersey?
Oh, 110%, partner. I am getting the new uniforms with a Tom Brady jersey. It's going to be the number 1 selling jersey before the season even starts. If
Not only is it Brady, but it's like new, so...
Oh my God, man. It just does not feel real. My head is spinning, and I'm trying to keep myself grounded so we can give you guys the information as it played out. We still have some voicemails we're going to get into, and then we're going to talk about some other Buccaneers transactions that have transpired. We'll talk about everything from the first few days of free agency. But I'm going to hang up this Jameis jersey. I'm going to get me a Tom Brady jersey, and it's going to hang right behind me. If you guys watch with video, you normally notice that I have 3 jerseys hanging behind me. One was a creamsicle Warren Sapp. The other was a red home current, well, I guess old now, Levante David, signed by Levante David, humble brag. And then I had the Color Rush Jameis jersey. So I have donned my Jameis jersey. I'm wearing it for this episode, and then I'm putting it away until my Tom Brady one gets here, all fresh and clean, smelling like a new uniform. Now we have to wait until April. We're only halfway through March, and we still have to wait 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They gotta move that up, right?
I mean, we better get some sort of confirmation picture of Brady in the new uniform, right? I mean, that's the only way.
It has to be. Yeah, that's got to be a normal marketing thing.
Do you remember 2 months ago when we talked about the possibility of Brady, and we said, you know what, when they come out with the new uniforms, let's say this scenario happens, it's live on the NFL Network, they're on a stage, Mike Evans comes out and he shows it off, Levante David comes out and he shows off the away jerseys, and then all of a sudden the lights focus center stage, the mist starts, and out of the smoke walks Tom Brady in the new limited edition Color Rush that they haven't teased for us yet, and that's Tom Brady's big reveal as a Buck. It's incredible because it seems like that is more possible now than it ever has been.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's literally crazy.
It is incredible.
It really is. But
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's really all you can say about it. So that's all we're going to say. We're done fanboying about Tom Brady. Let's jump into your guys' voicemails, and let's talk about some of what was going on. You guys called us, and you just gave us your opinion. Now, as we mentioned earlier, these were all recorded earlier in the day, so some of them might not be as relevant or timely as ones that we may have received. We did get a very large number of voicemails as well, so if we do not get to your voicemail, do not worry. It is nothing against you. It's just, time constraints and what's timely. So, let me open up our list here. We got a long list of voicemails. I think we're going over 4 or 5, so we'll jump into those here in a minute. Evan, I have to ask before we get into the voicemails because it's killing me, man.
Okay.
You've been somewhat quiet. We opened the show and we got on before Skype, and this is the most flustered I have ever seen you. Like, you are big exhale. You're just whoosh. Like, I've never seen you this flustered about anything. And you texted me a few days ago. You said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. I want Tom Brady in Tampa. And, buddy, you got TB12 in Tampa Bay. Like, just tell me how you're feeling.
Feeling great. It's Tom Brady's my favorite quarterback ever. I own a few pieces of merchandise from TB12. I was actually going to wear it, but I decided not to. And I have another shirt that just said GOAT. Not really a Tom Brady shirt, just said GOAT. I was going to wear that. Decided to rock the CFP shirt. But
hell yeah.
But I mean, I'm feeling great about it. I never understood the hate that he got. Greatest quarterback of all time. Patriots' greatest dynasty of all time. He was a big part of that. 6 Super Bowls. Every Super Bowl he was ever in, I rooted for him. Doesn't matter who he's playing against. Obviously, he never played against the Bucs, or else it'd be different. But, just right now, it's tough to put into words what exactly I'm feeling because, like we were talking about, like beforehand, like hasn't really hit, that this is real. And but at the same time, I have to come on and talk about it. So I had to keep my composure as much as I could. So that's why, beforehand, I was pounding the table and, everything like that. But I think it's really going to get me pumped when I actually see him, post about it or in a Bucs jersey or Bucs anything. It's going to be very surreal. It's a very surreal moment for me.
I agree with you, man. It's not really going to kick in for me until you see the Buccaneers officially acknowledge that they got Tom Brady, because that's when you know it's real. Because let's face it, as
Hang
of
on,
right now,
I'm getting a phone call really fast about Brady. Hang on.
So as of right now, it's like Adam Schefter came out and said that it's confirmed. There's tons of other sources that are saying it looks like Tom Brady is going to the Bucs. We know that this is the NFL. Anything can change. The Buccaneers could some way, somehow, fumble and still lose out on Tom Brady. And I know it seems weird because we just came on and said it is confirmed. And I will say this. If the Bucs somehow, some way lose Tom Brady, then I will take back everything I've said here on the show. But it just does not look like that's going to happen. It's pretty much official, folks. The Chargers dropped out of the race. The Broncos, who people were worried about for some reason, said that they weren't interested. The 49ers were not interested. The Raiders ended up signing Marcus Mariota. Now, whether that's to be a starter or a backup has yet to be determined. I'm sure Raiders fans know a little bit more about that. But it all boiled down to Tampa Bay. And that's where we are right now. It's an exciting time for sure. Evan, are you still there? No, he is not.
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Cool. So
I'm here.
No,
sorry,
you're
I just had to take that phone call. So
you're all good. Any good juicy information on that phone call?
No. That was just a phone call that you get when people know that you're like Bucks fan basically, and I've been getting a bunch of texts and phone calls and stuff. So
people are so happy for us. We're like the kid that got bullied.
Yeah, I got a DM from somebody. They're like, "Oh my god, I'm a Bills fan. Like, I'm so happy for you guys." I was like, "Okay, thanks. Like, sweet. All right." Like, but I mean, really, things like that don't really happen a whole lot. Like like you said, the Brett Favre thing, right? Thought they were getting Brett Favre. It was reported that it was like a done deal. They just didn't get Brett Favre. Bill Parcells twice. They thought they were getting him. Steve Mariucci, they thought they were getting him. Chip Kelly, they thought they were getting him. They actually agreed to terms with Chip Kelly, and he backed out. So even Adam Schefter said, they were a runner-up for Brett Favre. They're not going to be a runner-up for Tom Brady. And it's just it's crazy. It really is. So let's get to these voicemails, though.
Absolutely. We've got our first voicemail coming to us from a caller out of the 850. Let's check in, see what he's got to say.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Michael Ganey calling out of the 850 Pensacola, Florida, baby. Kind of a silly question, but if we do land Tom Brady, what number do you think he would wear? Appreciate you guys. Love the show, man. Bye.
That's our buddy Michael Ganey. He called in and he asks us, if we do land Tom Brady, which we did, we're talking about it right now, what number do you think he would wear? And I love this question because it has nothing to do with changing the offense. It's nothing super intricate. It's a very to-the-point question that I'm sure is on the forefront of a lot of people's minds.
Yeah. Trust me, we're going to have plenty of time to talk about fitting the offense and stuff.
Right, exactly. So I will throw out my guess first. I have to imagine that, Chris Godwin is going to offer his 12 to Tom Brady. I know that the number 12 means a lot to both of those players, but in my opinion, it doesn't seem too far-fetched to think that Brady would come here and maybe want to change numbers to 10, the number he wore at Michigan, made himself a star in college football. 16 is another possibility. Really looked up to Joe Montana. People are throwing that idea out there because there were different scenarios. I remember when Mohamed Sanu came to New England, there was a story that came out that Tom Brady had offered Mohamed Sanu the number 12. So at the end of the day, I know he has branding built around the number 12. I know TB12 Industries is a big deal.
It did TB12 method.
Do you think it's far-fetched to believe he would change his number? And if he did, what do you think he would do? Because personally, I'd like to see him in number 10. I think it fits. I think it's a good look. TB10, you still got the TBT going on. So it rolls right off the tongue. I like Tom Brady in 10 in Tampa Bay. Say that 5 times fast. But what do you think?
Well, I personally do think he'll end up in 12. But 10 would probably be my second choice. He did wear it at Michigan. Scotty Miller, I'm sure, would give it to him. 16, I don't believe 16 is being worn by anybody right now, so that'd be easier, obviously, but I don't really see that. Speaking of the TB12 method, I'm clearly not on the TB12 method. I'll tell you that right now. honestly, Tom, kind of crazy. I've read a little bit of the TB12 method. Not sure what you're doing.
Yeah, eating grass and like sunflower seeds strictly. It's weird, man.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, I would guess he's gonna get 12, but 10 wouldn't surprise me. It's just, I think his brand's getting bigger and bigger. I think TB12 makes a lot of sense, and I think Chris Godwin would give it to him, even though Chris Godwin has had that number since college. But we'll see.
We'll definitely see. We have a lot of time to figure it out, as you said. Maybe we'll see it when the new uniforms are revealed. Who knows? But thanks for calling in, Michael. Let's get to our next voicemail. This comes to us from a caller out of the 626. What's up?
Hey, Fire Cannon Podcast. This is Richard from Los Angeles. Quick question. So, if we do sign Tom Brady, how does that change the offense? And do you see him breaking more Tampa Bay offensive records in his first year under Bruce Arians? Jameis did it under his first year. He's a record holder before, so can't wait to hear you guys your thoughts. All right, you guys stay safe. Bye.
Thank you to Richard from LA for calling us in. He's basically asking us, do you think Tom Brady can come in and make a year one impact under an Arians offense and end up in Buccaneers record books? Can he surpass a guy like Jameis Winston? And the short answer is no. I don't think Tom Brady is going to come in here and throw 50 touchdowns. He's not going to throw 40. I'll be damned if he throws 30, to be honest with you. Jameis Winston holds the passing records, and I'm convinced that he's going to continue to hold those passing records until maybe, long after Brady is done in Tampa.
It's the reality is Jameis Winston was here for 5 seasons. Tom Brady's going to be here for 2, maybe 3. That's the reality.
Yeah.
If it was a rookie coming in, maybe. Like if they were drafting like Joe Burrow, Tua.
And that's kind of the expectation is if you bring Brady in, he's only going to be here for 2 or 3 years. After that, whatever rookie or whatever heir to the throne you have in place, maybe that's the guy who can get it done because you're hoping he's a long-term option at that point. But yeah, Brady is 43. Well, he will be 43 years old in August once the season starts. So it's hard to sit here and say he's going to be in the Bucs record books for many years to come. He will definitely go down in Tampa Bay history. It just might not be in the passing records section of the book. But Rich, we appreciate you calling in and listening out of the West Coast, Los Angeles. We've got another voicemail we're going to get into. This comes from area code 941.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Andres from Sarasota. First off, I just want to thank both of you for doing the show. Really keeps me going during this off season. You guys are doing a good job. As far as Tom Brady to the Bucs, I don't know, man. I'm trying to get excited, but it's hard for me. I just don't think that he fits the system. I'm disappointed, to be honest. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That O-line sucks. We all know it. We have no running game whatsoever. The only thing that works out is just the wide receivers. Finally, Tom Brady's going to have somebody to throw it to. But other than that, it's tough, man. He just doesn't, I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully he still does have, the arm strength to throw it long ways and whatnot. But we'll see, man. Only time will tell. If he does come, I hope that, we fix the O-line and that, we get a decent running game. And we'll see. Go Bucs.
Thanks for calling in out of Sarasota. And I'm glad we got a call like this because it deals with something that I know a lot of people are thinking about. I know there is a huge chunk of the fan base that does feel this way, and they're very concerned with Brady, just as a player, where he is right now. We brought up right before the voicemail that he is going to be 43 in August. So for a lot of people, Chris, our buddy Chris left us a voicemail not too long ago, and he kind of brought up the concern of, well, when is his arm going to go out? Because you don't really know. It just kind of happens. Peyton Manning, he didn't expect his arm to go out when he did. He was in his late 30s, wasn't even 40. It happens to the best of them. So a lot of people are concerned with the possibility that we get Tom Brady and he's just not what we expect him to be. Evan, I'll toss this one to you, man. What do you say to those people? Because I think there is a real concern, and I think a lot of those people have a right to feel that way because, in my opinion, we genuinely do not know. You'd have to take a look at him in training camp, see if he's able to really stretch the field, run some of those longer route plays, and then you have to take into account the offensive line protecting him, how the run game is going to do, because if Brady's going to do well in Tampa, the run game has to improve from last year. It just has to. There's no other option at that point. So what do you make of all this? What do you say to the people who are concerned?
Well, I do believe that Tom Brady has enough arm left that he can get the job done in Bruce Arians' offense. I also think the offense is going to be modified. Like, this isn't going to be the same offense that it was last year with Jameis Winston. Like, it's not. It's not going to be the same offense with Brady. It's just not. So, that the arm strength going out, obviously, like I said, you don't know what it is, right? Peyton Manning, like you said, he didn't expect it to go out like that. His last year, he was a shell of himself. But, people have been saying that about Tom Brady for years, right? Years.
Yeah.
People have probably claimed 5 or 6 times, oh, he's done. This is it. It's over. Is it? No, it's not over. So we'll see what happens with the arm strength. As far as the personnel, like offensive line and stuff, so, the offensive line, I don't like Pro Football Focus a whole bunch, but they did rank the Bucs offensive line 7th in the NFL. Like I said, I'm not really the biggest fan of Pro Football Focus.
Now, if I remember correctly, the majority of that ranking was attributed to the interior offensive line, right?
I'm honestly not 100% sure about that.
All good.
I do think the offensive line improved last year. Donovan Smith, I believe, had one of his better years. I believe Ali Marpet was good. Ryan Jensen had a nice bounce back. Alex Kappa continued to develop while battling some injuries. DeMar Dotson was kind of rough, but, he was on the last leg. You had a tackle with that mix. You had one of those tackles at 14 or, a Josh Jones, through the draft, and suddenly it's looking pretty good with Alex Kappa continuing to develop. I like the offensive line where it's at. Like, I'm a bigger fan of it than some people are. I feel like they do need a tackle. They need a right tackle. There's no secret there. They need one. But I feel like the offensive line will be okay. As for the running game, I personally would go out in free agency right now and sign somebody. But, they have been linked to Melvin Gordon some. We'll see what happens. I don't expect them to sign Melvin Gordon, but we will see, like I said. But then, they could draft a running back in the 2nd round. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a guy I'm going to continue to bring up this entire process. I think he's a perfect fit, a perfect complement next to Rojo. Really, your thoughts on the Bucs running game all depends on your thoughts on Ronald Jones. What you think of Ronald Jones determines what you think of the Bucs run game. I think Ronald Jones is very good, and I think he can develop into a decent starter. But I feel like they need someone to complement him because he can't just do it by himself. I feel like if Clyde Edwards-Helaire would come in, or like a DeAndre Swift or J.K. Dobbins, they'd be a perfect fit. And I think it would give them a nice 2-headed monster, and that would fix the running game. So really, those concerns, the only one that I would really be concerned about is honestly Father Time catching up to Brady. And unfortunately, that's not the one you can't really do much about. So, we will see.
Now, you had brought up briefly the plan at offensive line, saying they need some help there, definitely need a right tackle, and then you brought up the run game as well. I'm going to ask you about both of those things quickly before we get into our final voicemail of the show. Looking at the offensive line, we talked about bringing somebody in for the draft. Maybe you want to pick up some more depth pieces throughout free agency. There's a lot of guys available who could come in and kind of fill in the gaps for your second-string offensive linemen because, as we saw, the Bucs have no O-line depth whatsoever. All of our backups last year were they were bad. It's plain and simple. But have you thought about the idea? I've seen a few people talking about it, of bringing in whoever you bring in. Let's say first round they pick up one of the offensive tackles that's on the board and available. Do you think the route to go would be moving Donovan Smith to right tackle, plugging in your rookie at left tackle, or just immediately playing your rookie at right tackle, letting a guy like DeMar Dotson kind of sit behind him, hold a clipboard on the sidelines, not in a literal sense, but kind of do what he has to do in that sense? like, what's the route that you would go with the offensive line if you bring in a rookie? Are you moving guys around, or are you just plugging and playing at the right tackle position?
I'm probably plugging and playing just because, eventually, if Donovan Smith does struggle this year, the Bucs can get out of that contract after this year, so they can free up some cap room. What I would do is pretty much, if you do get one of the top 4 guys, Jedrick Wills might have some trouble playing left. Andrew Thomas can play both. Mekhi Becton can play both. Tristan Wirfs, I think, could be able to play both if he's a good enough athlete. And Josh Jones, I believe, could play both. But you draft one of those guys, put him in at right tackle, play him. If Donovan Smith struggles, you can cut him, move one of those tackles over to left tackle. So now you have a hole at right tackle again, but a right tackle is much easier and cheaper to find than a left tackle. So that's the route I would take.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the running game, we are in the midst of free agency as we record this, so I'll ask you one more time. I know you've brought it up on shows in the past, but for anyone who is misinformed or just has not heard, what are some names that you think would complement Ronald Jones very well at the running back position?
So do you mean in the draft or free agency?
I would say free agency for now, just because that's what's relevant. But even in the draft, what are some other guys? Because you have to believe that with Tom Brady coming in, you're in a much different situation than you were with Jameis Winston.
Jacob Eason is in play in the second round. He's in play.
You have to believe the Bucs are going to mix up their draft board. So at the running back position, they're still maybe looking to get one in the second or third round if the right guy is available. But what else do you think can happen just in the draft?
Yeah, so free agency-wise, I'm going to keep bringing up Chris Thompson as a name. I think you can get him for cheap. Honestly, there's only been one running back that is signed in free agency. That's Jordan Howard, signed to the Dolphins. That's shocking to me, right? So far, only one running back has been signed.
Well, David Johnson sent to the Texans for hot dogs.
Oh my God, not hot dogs. Oh my, that hot dog's a pretty darn good hot dog. Oh my God, I still can't believe that trade went down. That's
Somebody needs
ridiculous.
to take Bill O'Brien's phone away, man.
Dude, I could do a better job. But I'm talking like free agency signings. There's only been one, Jordan Howard. So who I thought would have been a decent fit in Tampa Bay. But, like I said, maybe they are after Melvin Gordon, right? Maybe that was one of the things with Brady, that they told him to get Gordon. I don't know, right? I wouldn't expect it.
Really quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, but what is the cap situation with Melvin Gordon?
So, what is he asking for?
Yeah.
So I think he was asking for top running back money, but the rumor was that his market really took a hit. And the Dolphins, Falcons, and Bucs are the 3 teams linked to him, but the Dolphins just signed Jordan Howard today, so I think that might eliminate them. So that would lead me to believe it's Dolphins, Bucs. We'll see what happens. But I would expect he wants, $7-8 million, which is why I don't think he ends up at Tampa Bay.
Gotcha.
So, like I said, Chris Thompson, I think, is a name that could work. In the draft, like I said, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but like you said, they are going quarterback in the second round. Maybe like Cam Akers. If Cam Akers is there in the third round, that's great value. Zach Moss from Utah, that's great value in the third round. I like both of those guys. Antonio Gibson from Memphis is a running back / receiver. Arians loves that type of player. So, that could possibly be 4th or 5th round. That type of guy. I expect them to address running back earlier than the 4th or 5th round. If they do decide to address, only one running back in the 5th round, that likely means that they've signed one in FA, free agency.
Look at you, man. You still got your Twitter, language on.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I was thinking. So I was like, sign one. Oh, you can sign one FA. Oh, no. So... Yeah, like I said, Chris Thompson, Melvin Gordon would be a fit, but I just don't think the money is going to be right for him. Devontae Freeman's pretty injury prone, so I wouldn't really be after him. Maybe at Deion Lewis. Deion Lewis got released by the Titans, played with Brady in New England. Bucs had interest in him a few off seasons ago, I know, so we'll see what happens there. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I do expect them to add a running back to pair with Ronald Jones.
Absolutely. We still have some things to play out. Free agency, of course, still open, so the next episode of the podcast
guys,
will not be very far away.
Free agency hasn't even officially opened yet, guys. That's what you don't realize.
Yeah. The Bucs have already made probably the biggest move of their free agency before it even officially opens. Wednesday the 18th is when things officially get started. So hopefully pen will be put to paper and Tom Brady will officially 3 times over be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. We've got one more voicemail we're going to get into, and then we're going to talk to you guys about some other transactions that went down, because believe it or not, the Buccaneers have done more than just sign Tom Brady. We're going to get into that right
Just
after this.
Little side note. Buccaneers have the 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
Tied with the 49ers and Saints.
Never, ever, ever tell me the odds. Let's get into this voicemail, our final one of the evening. This comes from somebody out of the 978. What have you got?
How we doing, boys? I just wanted to say the pain and suffering is over. For 20 years now, we've been trying to find a legit quarterback. Chris Sims was a fail. Winston was a fail. We tried to get Favre. Now we have the GOAT. Schefter just tweeted. It's practically official. 2020 is going to be crazy. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, my man, I am with you 100%. You're asking how we're feeling. We are feeling damn good. I cannot lie to you. I said it at the beginning of the show. I have yet to come down from the clouds, and this feeling just hasn't even hit me yet that Tom Brady is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. It's just such a taboo sentence. It feels so weird.
Feels very weird.
You know, let's talk about more of the Tom Brady effect on Tampa before we kind of move on, talk about some of the other things that are happening. We said before that this is going to be something that divides the fans left and right. I mean, Jameis Winston was probably the most enigmatic player in the history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I've never seen a player in my life that divided this fan base like Jameis Winston did, and for good reason, right?
It's incredible. We said a few episodes ago that this move, what's coming up, what's about to happen for the Bucs, whether Jameis is back or not, it's going to divide the fan base. It's going to separate the Jameis Winston fans from the Bucs fans. And you and I, Evan, I know that we are both Bucs fans at the end of the day. I said at the beginning of the show, yeah, right?
Maybe I'm just a Tom Brady fan.
Yeah, maybe you are just a Tom Brady fan, old bandwagon. But, you know, I've said at the beginning of the show, I'm a big Jameis Winston fan. I love the guy, but I love my red and pewter Pirates that much more. I wish Jameis the best. I hope he goes and he balls out like I thought he's going to do. And I hope that the Buccaneers can bring home the Super Bowl, hopefully in 2021 in Tampa Bay. Because, damn it, we got Tom Brady, 6-time Super Bowl champion. I can't say it enough.
Did you see Trevor Sycamores tweet?
I did not. I saw his tweets all day where he was sitting around waiting.
It said, it was like, you know, Bucks play, whatever, Mahomes, Rodgers, Breeze twice, Ryan twice. And Trevor was like, oh, man, it's going to be Brady versus Mahomes twice in Ray J, I guess.
And that's the crazy thing about, I love that. And that's the crazy thing about, you look at the Bucs schedule with Tom Brady. We talked about earlier how the stands are going to be filled up. Raymond James.
Buddy, they are getting some prime-time games. There's going to be 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, we're going to get 4 or 5 prime-time games a year. The Bucs are going to get the attention that, let's be honest, maybe we're a little bit biased, but the Bucs are going to get the attention they have deserved. Because every single time the Bucs are on prime time, they deliver an entertaining game, win or loss. Am I right?
Yeah, well, what was the that was Thursday night game. Thursday night game last year.
Unless they're in London, we don't focus on that kind of prime time.
That's not prime time, or any type of Saturday game because you know, the Saturday game versus the Texans wasn't great. So
it was
what are you thinking? Opening the season on Monday Night Football?
Absolutely, under the lights in Raymond James Stadium.
I think the NFL definitely wants that. That's no. You know,
you're going to get a good up-close look at Tom Brady under the lights in the new Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniforms. Who is on our schedule?
So they play the Chiefs at home. They play the Packers at home. They play, obviously, the Saints at home.
We're opening it against the Packers.
Right, Packers?
We're either opening the season against the Saints or the Packers.
Okay.
The old NFC Central matchup. 2 of the sharpest-looking uniforms in the league. I just picture the Bucs in their old red and pewter under the lights playing Green Bay on Monday Night Football. With Tom Brady playing quarterback. This new era of Tampa Bay football, the boom that is about to happen across the Bay Area from not only a football standpoint, we talked about it before the show, from a podcasting standpoint, to all of our friends in fringe media. Everybody is about to get a spike in attention solely because of this one player. It is a huge moment in franchise history. and I am very excited for the future. As a Bucs fan, Tampa Bay, through or through, I am pumped.
Yeah. So, but, just like you were about to say, the Bucs did make other significant moves, which if they hadn't, maybe they don't even land Brady. If they lose these two players we're about to talk about, maybe Brady says, "What? I ain't going there."
Absolutely.
Could have played a big part.
Now, what kicked off the week, the first news that we got regarding the franchise tag, the franchise tag was placed on outside linebacker Shaq Barrett. I believe he got $15 million from it, regardless.
It's about 15.8, yeah.
Regardless, an almost $12 million raise of what he made last year. Shaq came out a few days before, said he wouldn't really mind it. He would play on the tag, and I have no reason to believe he's going to hold out. He looks very excited about the upcoming season. He's posting all over social media, talking to the NFL Network. He said he would play under the tag, and that appears to be the case. Now, that was the domino in the Bucs side of things that really started to knock everything over, because as soon as we found out that the franchise tag, we actually got a caller calling in right there. We're recording a show, so we're not taking live phone calls. But as soon as we found out that Shaq Barrett was getting the franchise tag, everybody was like, what does this mean for Jameis Winston? Are they signing him to a deal? Are they still looking at quarterbacks? Because at that time, it did not feel like the Bucs were going to get Tom Brady. This was something that I did not believe was going to happen.
This happened quickly.
It did. It happened very, very quickly.
It happened once he said he was done in New England. That was the consensus was, well, he's going to go back to New England. When he said he was done in New England, that's when it became a real possibility. And it spiraled from there. The Chargers were out, and then about a half hour later, it was Bucs. Yeah.
Yeah. So Shaq Barrett...
I always got to bring it back to Brady, I guess, right?
Yeah, right. At this point, what are you going to do? But Shaq Barrett getting the franchise tag kicked off the week for us in free agency, and then the Bucs made another move regarding...
Also, one note on Barrett. I do expect them to try and get a long-term deal done during the summer.
They still have time.
They have until July 15th to get a long-term deal done with Shaq Barrett. If they don't do it until July 15th, then... he has to play under the tag, which, I'm sure, like he said, he will do.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are expected to try a long-term deal. The tag just basically gives them more time.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Possibility is still open for Shaq to be paid on a contract, which I would like. But worst case scenario, franchise tag, you play him one more year to see if that productivity is the real deal, and then hopefully you sign into some big money. Because I have to believe that this year of all years, that outside linebacker position with Shaq Barrett playing the way that he is, that market value is going to go up. And I think the sooner you can get a long-term deal done, the better deal you're going to get. You feel me?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Bucs would have loved to get a long-term deal with Shaq Barrett done, around $16 million or so. He was asking, him and Drew Rosenhaus they were just asking for a little bit more. So,
and that's the thing about Rosenhaus too, is he's a guy notorious for getting his clients every single penny they can get.
Yep, super agent.
Yeah. So Shaq Barrett, he was franchise tagged to start the week, and then the Buccaneers made another move along that defensive line in regards a big fan favorite, coming back for 2 more years on a $27 million deal. That is Jason Pierre-Paul. This is a big signing because we had kind of talked about who was going to be the odd man out, and we found that out a little while ago. We'll get to that guy here in just a second. But this is a big signing because of the impact that JPP makes off the field, in the locker room, around the facility. The guy is just a natural-born leader. And we said before, bring him back because he got 8.5 sacks off of a broken freaking neck in half of a season. But bring him back because he's just an example of what a lot of those younger guys on the defense want to be. There was a story that Jenna Lane posted just recently, and it was after, I want to say, the Tennessee game. But it was guys in the locker room talking about girls, talking about what they were going to do that weekend.
It was after the Tennessee game, yep.
JPP came over there and ripped those guys a new one. He's like, you guys don't give a damn that we just lost a winnable football game. That's who you want in your locker room. And to build a winning culture in Tampa Bay, you want guys like that all over the place.
And just a side note, no, we do not know who the players were that he was talking to.
Yeah,
that was never released.
It was
an audio clip from a Levante David interview, and you can lightly hear Jason Pierre-Paul yelling at them in the background.
Yeah, but JPP is back. He's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer in his hometown for the next 2 years, $27 million. That boy went out there and earned his money. And, you know,
he's pumped. You see him on Instagram and stuff?
Oh, yeah, he's yelling at his neighbors. He's excited to stay in Tampa Bay.
2 more years.
You got to believe he loves his hometown. You know, he went to USF. He's a Bull for life. He loves being in Tampa. He said business is business. And I think the Buccaneers, they kind of stuck their neck out there when it came to paying him because they paid him a little bit above what his market value actually was to keep him around. He's making, what, $13.5 million a year plus whatever guaranteed. So he's getting big money.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than I was expecting. I was expecting a 2-year deal around $11 million or so, but, you know, I don't think they were going to let $2.5 million stand in their way of getting this guy back.
Yeah, I don't think they were. I think they were getting out in front of it. They weren't going to let any other team come in and try and pursue him, as we saw the Ravens did. The Ravens made a really big run.
Did. Yep, the Ravens did go after him, and the Bucs were able to prevail. So, you know, Pierre-Paul is just such an important piece. The Bucs recognized that, you know, the defense really changed when Pierre-Paul returned. That was a big loss in the first 7 weeks or so, and they're really hoping that, you know, a full season of Pierre-Paul with Shaq Barrett there, they're hoping that the defense really just picks up where it left off. Sorry.
Absolutely. Those guys looked really good the second half of the season. You have to hope that not only the defensive line is able to hold their part, we have to wait and see who else they sign because there are still several free agents. Now, the next guy I wanted to talk about, I'm very, very upset that he's leaving Tampa. I'm a big fan of him, but it was somewhat expected. Defensive end, outside linebacker, Carl Nassib was picked up by the Raiders. So we wish him the best of luck. I am a really big fan of Carl Nassib, but we said coming into it, this guy has enough of a market value. He can go be a starter somewhere else.
Yeah, he agreed to a deal with the Raiders. I'm not sure of the I'm not sure of the terms yet. I heard that he agreed to terms. He was expected to get around $8-9 million or so, which is just too rich if the Bucs wanted to keep Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul at the expected prices. So yeah, it was expected. Sad to see him go. Guy's got an incredible motor. He just doesn't quit. And what a waiver pickup by Jason Light and the Bucs. He was getting cut by the Browns. They put him on waivers, and the Bucs picked him up right before the 2018 season, and it was a great move. It was. They got a cheap player that was productive for 2 seasons. That's the way it's done. That's the way. You know, I'm not calling the Bucs a good team, but that is how a good team, you know, operates. They find those guys. Hopefully the Bucs, you know, can find 1 or 2 more of those guys this season and really make a difference.
Yeah, and we bring up, you know, Jason Light and his track record of free agent signings, guys that he picked up and brought into the Bay over the years. Carl Nassib is definitely one of those guys you can look back on and say that Jason Light and his staff of scouts did a really, really good job.
Looking back on it, Jason Light has had like a great offseason last year. Like, can we just like acknowledge that for a second?
Oh yeah, between the draft and the free agency moves he made, it looks like you know, in the grand scheme of thing, hindsight is 2020. I would say the Bucs won the offseason last year.
Yeah, I mean, well, when he signed the sack leader for $4 million, yeah, you know, and a lot of people are going to say the Dolphins won the offseason this year. Whatever. I personally believe it's the Bills. Big fan of what the Bills did. But, you know, the Bucs signed the greatest quarterback ever this offseason. So, you know, I mean, I think Jason Light's learned his lesson from that first year that he was here when they signed 5 and 6 big-time guys. That didn't work out. He's definitely learned his lesson. And now, you know, he's getting better at it. Ryan Jensen has turned out to be a solid pickup. Vinny Curry really didn't work out.
Ryan Jensen, let me go on record here, probably the best setter in the NFL. I know I've said this before. I'll say it again.
I don't know, but that's a steep claim, buddy.
Top
just
3.
Because you got.
Can you meet me? Can you meet me and say top 3?
No, I will not meet you and say top 3. I'll say top 10, which there's 32 of them.
Not even top 5.
There's 32 of them.
I know that there are people out there that agree with me.
I'm sure there are, but no. Just because Tom Brady's the quarterback doesn't mean that everything's sunshine and rainbows. Okay?
What? No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
I'm just saying that Ryan Jensen. I love Ryan Jensen, right? But to me, he's firm in that number 8, number 7. Like he's not. To me, he's not. Like you're talking about, he's better than a guy like Brandon Linder and
if we're grading last season, yes,
and Jason Kelsey. Like, man, I don't know. I just don't
Okay.
know. I like Ryan Jensen a lot, and he did improve. He really did. He had if he had a year. If he had the year that he had, in 2018, this year, he might not even be on the team right now.
Oh, yeah,
but,
he was definitely
did
sloppy
really
his
improve.
first year. Had to get cleaned up.
I forgot about that, just how, many penalties he had.
Yeah, and he was barely penalized last season. I think, was he penalized at all? He had one
Yeah,
or
I
two.
think he might have one or two, yeah.
I mean, regardless, the guy really cleaned his game up,
one or
and I'm a
two.
huge fan of watching him play. You look back on the tape, the way he's able to manhandle guys. We said from day one, he plays till the whistle. He's just a big, aggressive guy, and one of the things that I admire the most about him is the way that he plays mind games with the defensive lineman that he is up against. More than one time this year, he was the cause of an offsides penalty, a stupid mistake by the defensive lineman. I mean, he got straight up punched in the face one time and got the Bucs 15 yards.
That one time in Detroit, when he came out and didn't look too happy, but he was injured, and he was like, I'm going back in. Went back in, didn't even miss a snap. So, and that's why Jason Light signed him. They loved his toughness and everything. So, back to on track here. That same offseason, he also traded for Jason Pierre-Paul and is now able to sign him to an extension. Unfortunately, that car accident happened, right? If the car accident doesn't happen, Jason Pierre-Paul is under contract right now with the Bucs. I mean, he is now, of course, sure, but he would never have been scheduled to be a free agent because technically his contract would have expired next offseason.
Yeah, he would have been headed into his final year.
Actually, it was for $12 million, so the Buccaneers actually lost out on about $1.5 million, but whatever.
Who cares?
So, yeah, I mean, it's a big win for Jason Light based on his recent moves, and like Brashad Perryman last year. I haven't heard anything on his front. He's expected to have a market in the Tier 2 free agents. The Ndamukong Suh, haven't heard much. They were really focused on the quarterback. Now that they got that solved, I would expect, maybe some moves to free up some additional cap space, some restructures, maybe some cuts, and then, go out and maybe see what Suh wants, what Perryman wants, possibly some replacements, stuff like that. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, kudos to Jason Light because he's done a pretty good job lately. And, I mean, I know it doesn't look great that the number 1 overall pick in 2015 and the franchise quarterback is no longer going to be with the team. That looks bad. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. That looks bad. That also means that they made a mistake at number 1. You can't sugarcoat that, right? You can't sit here and say, well, no, they did. Jameis Winston, to me, Jameis Winston is not a bust, but they definitely made a mistake. Jameis Winston, if he was a second-round pick, he's a great pick. First overall pick, you got to be with your team 5 years.
That's a lot of expectation to live up to. And, you expect that guy to be signed to a second contract.
You're a national champion. You never lost a game. You only lost one game in college. The expectations were there, rightfully so. And, Light technically missed on that. Not a lot of GMs get a chance to get another quarterback. But when you get a chance to sign the greatest quarterback ever, that's probably why Light's still here. So, kudos to Jason Light. He's made I think he's been improving every year, honestly. You look like Carlton Davis and, Vita Vea. Derwin James would have been nice, sure, but Vea's turned into a heck of a football player.
Oh, yeah. And a guy that is very valuable on that defensive line right now as well.
Yeah. Oh, he's one of the best nose tackles in the league. He's a top 5 nose tackle. I'll say that. And those nose tackles were getting paid today. So eventually, in 2-3 years, they're going to have to pay Vita Vea. So, but yeah, I mean, he, that 2016 draft is just going to hang over him. It sucks, but it is. And, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him because his drafts recently have been pretty good and his free agency signings have been pretty good. So we'll see what happens.
Jason Light trending upwards in regards to free agency and the draft.
How about Bruce Arians? Let's talk about this for a second. Tom Brady doesn't come here without Bruce Arians. True or false?
Oh, true. 110% true.
So what a difference. Can you imagine Dirk Cutter making a pitch to Bruce Arians? Bruce Arians, Tom Brady. Come on. No,
it's tough.
Tom Brady would laugh.
You've got to have the pieces in place, and right now it seems like the Buccaneers are the closest that they have ever been to really taking that step and being a playoff team. I think this team is the most playoff ready they've ever been, and I mean, we still have a bunch of free agents here.
Wait.
Well, maybe not ever been, but you understand what I mean.
Whoa.
In the realm of when we've been doing this show, don't take my words and turn them around on me. You know what I mean?
No. I did not know what you meant. Okay, I did not know what you meant. To me, when I think of ever, I'm thinking like, at least in like the 2000s.
Oh, settle down. Settle down.
I'm just saying, just saying. Hopefully there will be a day. Hey, gotta stay on your toes, man.
Hey, you gotta settle down. You gotta settle down because Tom Brady is in Tampa, buddy. Okay.
He is. He is, and unfortunately, we're not gonna have a press conference. So.
We're not even going to see a picture of him in any Bucs gear for like another 3.5 weeks.
It's going to be a freaking conference call. Like he's an offensive line coach who just got hired.
Oh, man. Now, we have
Can we at least get him on like FaceTime or something? Like,
right, yeah. We'll see if we can nail an interview with him for episode 200.
Yeah, okay, that's happening.
Yeah, we'll get Brady on for episode 200. Book it right now. A lot of time left in free agency right now. We were just talking about Jason Licht trending upward. You hope to continue. He does a good job because he has done a fairly better job these past few years than he really came out of the gate and did. He knows that. Bruce Arians knows that. That's why he's here to help him. And things are trending upwards for the Bucs right now. There's a lot of time left in free agency. We still have moves that need to be made.
It hasn't even opened.
It hasn't even opened. There's a ton of time. We have to see who the Bucs bring back, and we have plenty of time to wait and talk about that on future episodes. But one more question we're going to go over before we wrap this thing up. Jameis Winston. Things have been fairly quiet in the realm of free agency for Jameis Winston. I have not heard very many teams call his number and try and be in negotiation talks with him. Now, with Jameis, with any NFL player, maybe you want to keep things private. Maybe you don't want to put things out there. I mean, look at the LASIK and meniscus surgery. Those things happened, and nobody national reported on it for, 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah.
So I can understand maybe they're taking this process a little bit more quietly. I said before I thought there was going to be a market for Jameis Winston, but so far we've seen maybe the Raiders are interested, maybe the Chargers are interested. Right now it looks like the Colts are going with Phillip Rivers. So where does that leave Jameis Winston?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think he ends up?
Well, I personally think the Raiders are out. They just signed Marcus Mariota.
They did sign Mariota.
I don't think they would have Jameis be their starter. Wouldn't that be funny, though? Jameis and Mariota backing him up, or vice versa, would be pretty funny.
The argument's been over for a long time, but that would literally, solidify it.
Yeah. Doesn't that suck? Jameis Winston was the better pick, but they're both going to be gone from their teams. That sucks.
It really does.
These two guys were supposed to be the future of the NFL. Future, 1 and 2. And
people talked about how they're going to be good for so long.
Yeah. Yep. And now one team is Ryan Tannehill and the other is Tom Brady. Oh my God. Okay. Sheesh. Still can't believe that. Anyways, let's get back to it. So, you say Colt, Phillip Rivers, done deal. Only 1 year deal. Kind of surprised me. Maybe the Colts think they'll give Rivers the option to maybe retire at the end of the season. So Colts are pretty much out. The Chargers' rumored backup plan is just Tyrod Taylor. Apparently they feel comfortable enough with Tyrod Taylor. So we'll see. I think the Bears is a possibility. Jameis Winston, apparently Adam Schefter had said that Jameis Winston now that the Bucs are off the table, he hopes to become like a Ryan Tannehill. Sign somewhere, hopefully the starter, not really hopefully gets hurt, but in the event that he gets hurt or struggles, Jameis Winston could come in and take that spot. So let's take a look. Chicago, perfect example of that, right? Mitch Trubisky is on some thin ice, right? Yeah. He is on some thin ice. So, I think Chicago makes sense. Pittsburgh makes another sense, even if, sign Jameis for 1 year, but basically guarantee Jameis that he's going to be the future after Big Ben. We'll see, right? I like that fit. I don't really view like the Patriots as a realistic option, just because if Jameis is planning to do like the backup thing, like he's not expected to be a starter. Like Adam Schefter just said that. He's not expected to be a starter. So
with Adam Schefter saying that, you still don't think there's a chance the Pats roll the dice and say, let's bring Jameis in, and Belichick tries to do something?
I think the Patriots end up trading for Andy Dalton, personally. I don't think don't think Bill Belichick wants to spin the chamber. So I am gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it, man.
This could be the best thing you ever do,
or the worst.
The worst thing.
You ever play Russian roulette? Time to spin it. If you want some white bread clock watcher who's gonna get you paper on time with the agreed upon price, Jameis isn't your guy. But oh man, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it. I might not miss him, but I'm gonna miss that. So, but like I said, I don't really think the Patriots are that realistic. Obviously, Panthers just signed Teddy Bridgewater, which we didn't even talk about.
I mentioned it at the beginning of the show very briefly.
I didn't even notice. I guess I'm just too wrapped up, So, yeah, they have a new quarterback. Cam Newton seems to be moving on. Maybe Cam Newton goes to New England. Maybe he goes to L.A., the Chargers. Who knows? But I think either Chicago or Pittsburgh makes some sense for Jameis Winston.
We'll just have to wait and see. Of course, we'll see much more of those rumors open up. Just keep an eye on your phones, people. Free agency is set to open tomorrow or today, whenever you're listening. Wednesday, March 18th is when the market officially opens. You're going to see pen hit paper in more places than one right off of the bat, and we're very excited about Tom Brady being in Tampa. Let's hope that it is a new era for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's an era that we can remember for all the right reasons. I'm very, very excited about what's headed our way. We're about to get a lot of attention very quickly, and unfortunately with that comes a lot of bandwagon fans. So, folks, prepare yourself. If you've been listening to the show since the beginning, and you've been rocking with the Red and Pewter for as long as you can remember, we appreciate you, and we salute you. I think it's safe to say that better days are ahead.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's just about going to do it for this episode of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Thank you so much for listening or watching with video over on YouTube.com. Follow the show on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast, and those are your best source of finding updates on the show, when we're going to be going live, when we'll do any of our call-in shows, which we've been having a ton of fun in. And thank you to everybody who sent in a voicemail this evening. We appreciate you and your support of the show. You can follow myself on social media at Redicus, Instagram and Twitter. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. And you can follow my co-host Evan, the Philly Bucks fan himself, on Instagram and Twitter at BucksWave, and then on Twitter at EvanNFL. Any good things you got brewing up on your Twitter?
Not really. Just
all the excitement's over. We're gonna take a break for a few days, kind of come back down to earth.
Not taking a break, that's for sure. I think the Bucks could do a few more things this week. Not necessarily big things, but I don't think they're completely done yet. So while there's excitement, still got to keep going to work. So
we'll just wait and see. There is a ton of anticipation about what the Bucks are going to do. Folks, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. Have to give a shout out to our sponsors at Pinecrest Printing and Signs. These guys have been hooking it up for the Tampa Bay business community since 2001. Since before the Bucs won their Super Bowl. Can you believe that? These guys handle everything for your brand.
Do you know who won the Super Bowl the year after the Bucs did?
Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Yeah, won it the year before.
Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Oh. You know, won it the year after 2003 when Tom Brady won. He won again.
Yeah, twice in a row.
Man.
Twice in a row. Just something to think about, folks. Pinecrest Printing and Signs, these guys can handle everything for you advertising-wise. If you have a brand and you want to put it out there, they're going to make sure they do that in the cleanest and most professional way possible. They've got apparel. They've got business cards. They have hooked us up with some fantastic Cannon Fire Podcast business cards. We've got our stickers, which if you see those around the Tampa Bay area, make sure you send a picture to us on social media. You can send us an email at cannonfirepodcast.com, and you can claim that sticker, and I will send you a grab bag of CFP merch. Bunch of shirts, bunch of stickers, maybe some of those really nice business cards I just talked to you about. But all of that courtesy of our friends at Pinecrest Printing and Signs. You can give them a call at 813-684-5444 or check out the website at pinecrestprinting.com. I am Rhett Matthew, signing off for my co-host Evan Wanish, and we look forward to this new era in Tampa Bay football. We'll talk to you guys next time, and until then, go Bucs.